Welcome back to the Making Fire podcast, the podcast where two longtime besties talk about their favorite TV show, Survivor. This week, we will be doing a deep dive into the second episode of season 45. But before we get started, Riley, how's your week been? How have you been doing?
It's been okay. Last night before I was making dinner to watch the Survivor episode, of course. And for those, if you can't tell by my window, I live in a basement, so we have a little kitchenette in the basement. And I was being really smart and decided to turn on the air fryer and the microwave at the same time. And I blew a fuse last night. And
That's
then
fun.
I had to call my landlord. And I was like, Paul, I need you to get over here because our fridge is off and we have food in there. And then he didn't come until this morning at 8 a.m. So then I had to get up and let him in. And he fixed it in like 3 minutes.
Shout out to Paul.
No, shout out to Paul, I guess. But he did call me in the middle of the Survivor episode. It interrupted a little bit of my viewership. But it's all fixed now. The cheesecake in our fridge is good. So.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
How are you, Maddie?
I'm good. I've been a little busy bee. I got to go into a cave this past week. So that was super exciting.
Pacific Northwest Corps.
I know, but this one was like less rugged and like a smooth path, and it was a guided tour, but exciting nonetheless.
Look at you, little explorer.
I
You're getting your
know.
Survivor experience.
Yeah, I totally would have like climbed over the rocks if they let me, but we
And
had
then
to
fall
stay.
off and break your arm.
Yeah, but we had to stay on the path.
Darn.
I know. Okay, are we ready to break down this episode?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too. Okay, so we'll start from the very beginning. So first we see Lulu coming back from Tribal after Hannah was voted out / quit. And yeah, they're just kind of talking about what happened, and Emily is talking a lot. This is pre-redemption arc for her. So she's talking about how she feels like she's been gaslit, and then she like apologizes, but then is also like, I don't know why Sabaya is being so sensitive.
It's crazy. I'm like Emily, how are you going to say that you were doing something wrong? Like, she admits that she was like, okay, I was being a little like critical of you guys. And then they're like, yeah, you were. And she was like, whoa.
Too much.
Whoa. Too much. I can say I was doing something wrong. You can't say I was doing something wrong. A little crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. And I think everyone was just like emotionally done and not interested in having that conversation.
Yeah, especially like right then and there. Like, they're all physically, emotionally exhausted. Y'all are picking in a fight right now in the pitch black.
With no
Pitch dark.
fire.
Wait. Yeah, no fire.
Exactly. So then right after that, we see the intro, which I just want to talk about. I love it. I'm so happy it's back. It just feels so classic Survivor.
No, it feels very like, it feels what it's supposed to feel. Like, it feels like a real Survivor episode. I loved it. For some reason in my brain, I thought that it was just the last 5 seasons that didn't have intros, but apparently it's been 10 seasons since they've had intros. Which then I thought about it, I'm like, when I thought about it, I'm like, no, that sounds about right, actually, which is kind of crazy. But I'm so glad they're back. You're right. It feels classic. It feels how Survivor is supposed to feel. Everybody wants to be on that intro.
It just like gets you into the episode in a way you can't. I feel like I just don't immerse as easily into it when I'm not hearing that music and seeing the action shots of everyone. So next we go to the Reba tribe, and I'm obsessed with Sifu punching the trees. He's like, I don't feel it with one of my hands. And I thought that was really fun.
I love him. I think he's such a fun little character. I he just makes me happy. I just love a little happy guy, and he makes me happy.
Me too, especially like some of the clips were so funny when one branch like comes back and hits him in the face and you're just like, oh. And everyone around is looking at him like, sir, what is going on?
Do you think you would bond with the Sifu on your tribe?
Absolutely.
Like, you think you just be like, let's go punch some trees together?
I would want to learn how to do that. And I feel like that's just the comedic relief that you would need. Like, it takes your mind
Like,
off
it's not
things.
too
You're like, expect the unexpected with this person. Like, I'm obsessed.
Literally.
Yeah.
I feel like the comedic relief is really important out there. But it's not somebody like, he's not, we'll probably get there, but Bruce, where it feels a little disgenuine maybe.
Yeah.
I feel like he just gives off such a genuine, like, natural energy, which is it's fun. It uplifts the spirit.
I love Sifu. I really hope he goes far just so we see more of him because I feel like every time we see him, it's something new that I love. And also while we're seeing the Reba tribe, we see Austin decoding the message from the tribe sign. How did you feel about that?
Well, I thought it was interesting at first because didn't Maya, didn't she figure out that there was some sort of code before we even see Austin piecing it together?
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember if it was this episode or last, but I do remember her making a comment of like, that's gotta be something written out.
I think she was looking at it this episode and like tracing it out maybe. I don't know, but I'm glad that Austin was able to do it. It seemed much simpler. Like, I thought it would take him longer. It seemed like he got it pretty quickly, which is fine, but it's also like, I guess he didn't get the idol, so it's not like
Yeah.
he did it and he got it. Like, obviously, as we see throughout the episode, there's going to be more steps to what he needs to do, but I thought it was interesting. It was a fun little task.
I agree. And so next we go to the Bello tribe and we get a little bit of crazy Uncle Bruce who seems to kind of switch between being in his silly goofy mood or dadding and bossing everyone around.
He kind of, one thing Uncle Bruce is going to do is body roll. That is one thing Bruce is gonna do. It caught me off guard a little bit, but no, like, like, I love Katora. Like, I love that she just is like no BS. Like, she's just like, girls, get it together.
I know, she's literally like, everyone else is just eating him up, and I'm not buying it, and I love her for that.
But I also love that she's playing into it. Like, she's not like an Emily who's just gonna call it out. Like, she's like, oh yes, if we all love Bruce, I love Bruce. Mm-hmm. But she knows in the back of her head, she's like, I know the game he's playing, and it's a game that we have to keep our eye on. But I don't think I could see what he's doing. Obviously, we're the audience, we can see what he's doing, but he's not doing a great. I'm like, if you're gonna be the uncle, you have to be the uncle. You can't dad a little bit, because then people are still going to be like, why is he telling us what to do? You know?
Yeah, I'm surprised that more people aren't catching on.
I'm sure they are. It's just hard because you don't want to be the one person that like you don't want to be Katora going up to Kendra and being like, okay, so I think Bruce is faking it, and then Kendra's like, why do you think that?
Yeah, that's true.
And then now it's going around that Katora is spreading lies about Bruce.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I could see, possibly more people think it, but who knows? Maybe they're keeping it to themselves.
That's probably smart. I feel like Katura's definitely playing it smart right now.
Yeah, I think I'm glad she was my first draft pick. I'll just say that
she was a good pick. She was a good pick.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next. This episode is just going to bounce around between the tribes a lot. Just to clarify, I mean, which I love. I feel like we should have talked about this at the top.
I am loving the 90 minutes. I am loving just like getting to know the tribes and seeing what they're up to and like getting even time, even for like the Reba tribe or even like the Bello tribe. Like they're not necessarily like flopping, you know what I mean? Like we don't need to be spending a ton of time with them like logistically, but I like that we're getting it. I really enjoy like we're developing characters. I think I saw a tweet or something. This is like the first time in Survivor history that by the second episode everybody has gotten a confessional. Like I
No
think everybody
way.
got a confessional this episode. But if not, some people definitely got confessionals the first episode if they didn't get one this episode. So I feel like we're getting to know people, and I'm really excited about it. I'm really enjoying it.
I am too. I feel like even though the Lulu tribe is definitely like doing the most drama and like
Flaviana.
yeah, that wise, I feel like I know I've like seen all of the people. I don't feel like
Hmm.
anyone's necessarily flying under the radar like they have in
Hmm.
the past where they get post merge and I'm like, who are you? I literally
Literally.
don't know you. So that's super fun. But moving on, we see the Lululemons, as Sean called them. They're really just eating these names up, and I love it.
They are.
And we see another game of hide and seek. This time, Emily is hiding, and everyone else is seeking.
And this time they know the rules.
They know the rules. They were on it. You saw
They
them
were on
running.
They were on her, and I think it's so funny. Like, obviously, I can see what they're doing in Survivor, but I also sometimes I think it's so silly to like do Survivor out of context. And like at the end of the day, they're just chasing this grown woman around the forest, and they're
I've
like, "We
never
can't
thought
let-
about that.
Like, we can't let her be by herself, girl. Give it up."
And no, my favorite part is when Sabaya like finds Emily. She won. And then she's like, "Hey, so the three of them are going to go together and we're going to pair up." And Emily is like, that's not what's happening here. You can't trick me."
Emily's no BS. She's just fully like, no, like I'm grown. I know what's going on.
she
I was not
she
born
speaks her truth.
We may have met 5 days ago, but I was not born yesterday. I know exactly what is going on, and you guys
Yes.
need to leave me alone. I she was correct for that.
No, she was definitely correct. It was so funny though, just Sabaya being like, "Oh." Like, I don't think
No,
Sabaya
because
knew how
like,
to
what
take that. I wouldn't either.
what did she expect? Sabaya, you go up to her and you're like, "Oh, we have to look for the idol together," and then Emily goes, "No,
We're not aligned at the moment.
why? What was Sabaya's like? What was she expecting? I would have. That is expected reaction. I feel like
I
for Emily to
know.
be like, "No, I'm sorry, I don't want to do that."
I know. But I do love that Emily is becoming more self-aware this episode,
Mhm.
and she knows that no one likes her, especially at this moment, and that she does need that idol to stick around. I thought that was she's just I feel like this was a big character development episode for her.
I've got to respect it. I love the drama. I love the craziness. I love the calling out. I love blah blah blah. But I have to respect the realization, especially this early on in the game. Like I feel like it's oftentimes people realize too late, and I feel like Emily caught it right when she needed to catch it, which is really it's refreshing and it's relieving. I don't know. It seems like she really bonded with Caleb, and they were able to build something off of this. But people do not like Emily, and I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to be an Emily defender because I love the growth, and we're only 2 episodes in. I'm like, we already hit rock bottom. The only way we can go is up.
No, I agree with that. As Emily's, I don't want to say I'm her biggest hater, but I did like rank her last in the draft, and I didn't talk positively about her last episode. But I like loved watching her this episode. It made me happy and like feel good. I don't know. Like she definitely, I think, still has room, but I liked seeing her genuinely smile. And maybe it's
I
not
didn't
genuine. I don't know. Maybe she's like a really
It's
good
all
actress.
facade. It's all a facade. It just
And I would
she's gonna
love
backstab
that.
Caleb in the back.
I would love to get a confessional where she's like, I actually hate all of these people. I'm just doing this so I can see another day. But I don't think that's the case.
I think that a little bit has to do like the fact that they don't have any resources, like the fact that Lulu specifically like doesn't have any food, doesn't have any shelter. Like
Fire.
I'm sure they're at their emotional and physical rock bottom. Like I can't imagine, and the only thing you get so exhausted to the point where you just have to cry.
Yeah. I know at that
And
point the tears would be streaming.
The way that I would have such a bad attitude, the way that I know myself, and I would be so terrible to live with.
Yeah. I can imagine.
What does that mean?
So moving on, Brandon finds the Beware advantage, but then he's like, I'm not gonna open this. So he lets Sabiyah have it.
Okay. Yeah.
And what were you gonna say?
I was going to jump forward a little bit and say it is so weird that he did not want to take the Beware advantage, but then he ends up risking his vote.
Okay, I agree. I'm like, what was the point of that?
What was the point in your, like...
I feel like he's just... I don't know, he's like... I don't understand his gameplay.
Well, there's not... I mean, it's not like we have to understand it anymore, so...
No, and I'll never understand, and that's okay.
I was excited for... I thought it was so silly. Sabiyah walking on the beach, and Brandon's walking behind her, and she's like, come on, buddy.
Come on, buddy. Yeah.
Come on, buddy. Catch up. Like he's a dog.
I was loving the Sabiyah Brandon moments. Spoiler alert, sad we won't be seeing any more of them. But they were so funny to me. She truly was just bossing him around.
She stands on his back.
Oh, I was gonna talk about that. That made me laugh out loud. That was so funny. The like shot of him on all fours.
Oh, it's so fucked up, but it's so funny. Like, why are you like? I would never on national TV. You're gonna catch me on all fours being used as a step stool?
No,
never.
So funny.
I would personally have to call Jeff and be like, "You cannot release that footage.
Cut the tapes.
Cut the tapes.
We're done." So back to this Beware advantage. I love the little map clue.
Okay.
I thought it was
Can
cute.
I speak the truth?
Oh, always.
No, no. I thought it was cute, but I feel like the puzzles for at least the Reba tribe and the Lulu tribe were not equal.
Okay, yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
All she had to do was take the map and line them up. She could have done that in private, right? Like nobody's gonna notice the map is missing. Where then Austin
Reba is very public.
It's very public. He had to go up, which maybe there's like different, because if the initial parts are different, I would assume maybe there's the other tasks throughout the idol like scavenger hunt process are going to be a little different. So maybe there's like push and shove a little bit, like this part is public for the Reba idol, and then there'll be a more public, because like realistically Sabiyah has to the fire.
I was gonna say I feel like melting the wax is gonna be a lot more challenging to do in private.
Yeah, so I wonder if Austin down the line is gonna have a less public part to his advantage. I don't know, but this initial part, I was like, oh, this is a little like not even.
I agree. I think down the line it will make up for it. I think the candle wax part's gonna be tough.
Interesting.
Yeah, but basically immediately after Sabiyah gets this Beware advantage, she goes and immediately tells Sean and Caleb as well. And I just thought that was interesting. Like, okay, now everyone knows about Emily. And like, what's the point? Like, everyone knows about it. I was wondering what you thought about that move.
I feel like contextually it kind of makes sense that like, I don't...
Like, I feel like, do you think maybe Brandon would spill the beans? He gives me that vibe.
I feel like if he was in trouble, I feel like he would do whatever he needed to. You know what I mean? I feel like in the context of the episode, they were all looking together, especially
That's
since she
true.
found it with Brandon, and there's only 5 of them. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess, like, I would never have been looking, like, I get what they were trying to do with Emily. Like, I get the initial, like, we can't let her look by herself, but then she ends up, like, shooing her off anyway, Samaya off anyway. So it's like, why did you guys keep looking as a group? And now, like, everybody has to know that, like, everybody knows that she doesn't have a vote. Like, it's just, I
Yeah.
don't, like, that's the big thing for me. I'm like, everybody now knows that you don't have a vote until you get the thing. Like, it's such a small tribe. Like,
That's so dangerous.
it's so dangerous and it's really scary, but I don't know. I wouldn't have done it, but you know what? I will give Brandon his props. He said, I will not open this. And Sabaya was just like, okay.
Yeah. I know. She was all in.
Yeah,
So,
I respect Brandon shoving it in her face, but yeah, that's what I think about it.
okay. I agree with that. I think it would be such a tough. I think maybe in the moment it was like I don't know what was going through her head, but
Yeah.
I understand both sides of it. I think it might have been hard to keep that from everyone else, but anyways, back to Miss Reba. This was like a silly, goofy little part. A quick little look at them. We see Dee's long, big toe had a whole moment.
Okay. She better be getting like,
Money for
yeah,
putting her bear dogs.
the dogs raw dogging it on
Yeah.
live television.
Yeah.
Bold. And multiple times too. She did it in her confessional. She did it on the in the little camp. I was like, this is crazy. And then she started grabbing people and grabbing. I was like, no.
Pulling up the plants.
I was like, this is too much. You're doing far too much.
I'm wondering if maybe that's like a glimpse into the random stuff that they film that she's like, there's no way this gets into the episode. There's no way they air this.
I don't know why, but for some reason in my head, the way where I thought you were going with that is you were going to be like, maybe it gives us a glimpse, like there's going to be an immunity challenge, because you know that in the past they've had immunity challenges where they have to use their feet to build things.
She's gonna. This is her winner edit.
This is her winner edit. I'm telling you, the final immunity challenge is going to be her using her toes, grabbing up those planks. Girl, she's going to have that completed before Jeff can even start the challenge.
I'm glad I got her in the draft. I'll just say that. Her
And her 2 big toes.
Yeah, so really it was 3 players for
3
one. I'm sorry, D. I don't really know how to segue out of that. I definitely had to talk about it.
We had to.
That's what they're doing with these extra long episodes now, is so they can highlight things like that. And I'm
For
not
extra long toes, extra long episode for extra long toes.
And next we get to hear more from Miss Julie, or as she called herself, Mama J. She talks about how she's leaning into being this mom character, which is what I was hoping for when we initially talked about her. I loved her line when she's like, Drew just needs a mom out here. And then he's like, I need a hug so bad. And she gives him a big hug.
I think we talked about this in the draft. We talked about this, I don't know, our little preseason episode, but we love a mom archetype, the two of us. I just get so scared because the moms are so rarely rewarded and it's so devastating, and I think she's going to play it really smart. I can already get really positive energy from her, so I'm hoping she's able to pull something off, but it seems like she's well liked. So I hope she's able to have the balance, but I think it's really cute. I like that she's doing it specifically to Drew because she knows Drew like needs a mom. LOL.
Yeah, when he was saying that he needs a hug, like that's sad. But also, yeah, I'm glad Julie can provide those hugs. And she also was like, yeah, Drew's like my son's age or my kid's age.
That's so strange.
I know. So then, do you have anything else to say about that, Reba? It's tough when I feel like I'm just bouncing around, but we just went from tribe to tribe to tribe.
The episode just bounces around, but I'm liking Reba. I like the people on that tribe. I think it's a good little group. I'm sad, like Lululemon. I almost said LuLaRoe.
Oh, not the pyramid scheme. We are
Lulu,
anti MLMs on this
we are
podcast.
anti-MLMs. Down with the pyramid schemes. I like the Reba tribe. I was gonna say that it's unfortunate that the Lulu losers keep losing because obviously they are gonna get more screen time just based on how the episode needs to be structured. We're getting a lot, but I want more strategy. I want to see more of like where like it's fun little character building, but I want to see their relationships. I want to see who's bonding with who. I think we see a little bit what it was Drew, Julie, D, and Austin, yes, the four. I'm liking that we got a little bit to know that was a little bit of a group. And I like that group. I like J Maya and Sifu though as well. So I don't yeah.
Yeah, I love the Reba tribe. It's also interesting to see so much of these tribes before they've ever gone to tribal council because I feel like so much of these relationships we will see how things play out when they're having to vote each other out. Like everyone seems like they're having a swell time, especially on the Reba tribe right now. But once we get a little deeper into the game, I'm excited to see just how things shift.
I don't do spoilers, but did you watch the and you know how they do the preview for next episode? We'll get something soon, but they showed Drew like jumping around and people like are mad at him or something.
Yeah.
I feel like, so I wonder maybe they I'm interested to see if they go to tribal because people are different under pressure. You can bond with people, but as soon as you have the pressure of tribal council, you actually need to vote somebody out. Like different sides of people are going to come out. So I think we'll see some cracks form, but I think it'll be good. I'm excited.
Me too. So next we go back to Lulu. And we see Caleb and Emily talking, and Caleb's kind of talking about how a good player doesn't just cast out the big mouths and isolate them, instead try to work with them. And I thought that was interesting. I kind of like this Caleb Emily duo, but I'm scared for like Sabaya. I feel like maybe they're gonna turn. I don't know, that they feel strong.
I really like the duo. I love Caleb. I love seeing his little mind work right now. I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a really good like idea to have. Like you don't want you especially on such a small tribe. Like you never know. Like Emily did try to flip the vote last tribal on to one of the two of them, right? So I think it's a good mindset to have, especially in this early portion of the game when the tribes are so small and it really could be anybody. Like it's never not like you're always going to be, it could always be you, you know? And so I think it's a good idea to have, like you never want to outcast anybody because you never know when something could happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I feel like it's a good move on his part for sure.
And it's a cute little bonding moment. I like that.
Caleb's like, I'm coaching her into being nice.
Real.
I know. So moving into that more, Emily really seems to be learning from her mistakes and learning from how she was talking to everyone for the first, however, 3-4 days. And I kind of loved this little portion of the episode where it was just going like bouncing between all of the different people on Lulu and Emily being like, hey, what's up? And just little chit chats with them.
It's so weird. Like it's such a 180 from like what 30 minutes prior in the episode when they were like fully chasing her around the forest and we're like, we can't leave her alone.
I know. But yeah, I feel like this is Emily's redemption arc and I'm here for it. I really enjoyed that. I don't know, like watching her try and connect with Sabaya was cracking me up because Sabaya's just like, this girl is crazy. Like, what is gonna come out of her mouth next? You never
Who is
know.
she gonna call out next?
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, next, a boat shows up to each of the beaches, and there's a letter. And it says that one person must get on the boat and will return in the afternoon. So we see Brandon go from Lulu, Bruce from Bello, and Drew from Reba.
Bruce and his body rolls on the boat.
On the boat.
Bruce body rolls boat. The
The three
triple
B's.
B's.
Oh, you love the bees.
I do love the bees. What a little interesting group of people. In full transparency, this was when my landlord called me, was while they were on this little mission. But I was watching with my roommate, and so he was able to update me after our fridge fiasco. But what an interesting little group of people. It was so silly that Brandon fell on the rocks.
On the rocks, yeah.
Which I cannot get, like, every time somebody's on the rocks, I'm gonna get anxiety from last season. Like, it's just like I can't not have anxiety from it.
I know. My favorite part was when he got up and then he looks at the camera and goes, I'm good.
Because the producers asked, the producers are like, can we get like a really cool like clip of you just walking on the beach? We'll just drive past with the boat. It'll be really good. And he was like, sure. And he's walking and he slips and falls and almost dies and gets up and he's like, hey,
I know one of them had to laugh at him in that moment.
I know. I laughed. I was the one that laughed at him.
I laughed. I mean, like, one of the cameramen.
Yeah,
like,
I guess.
Classic Brandon.
Oh, classic Brandon.
I love it. So then they have a few minutes to talk, but I feel like we didn't really get much from them. So then they each take their own path. I thought it was funny. Like, I think it was at least Drew who was walking through the water. Like, what? This doesn't seem like a very clear path to me, but okay.
This is so random, but I saw a picture of Brando. It was doing one of his confessionals, and they had him like half sitting in the water, but like his like arm was resting on a rock above the water. I'm like, what is with it in the water? And like some of the stuff they're wearing is not water appropriate. Like I was thinking about, because Brando was doing the puzzle, which we'll get to later, and he was fully wearing like khaki shorts and a button-up shirt, and I'm like, imagine getting those wet. Oh, like they're already not comfortable to wear now, and then you're gonna get in the water to go back to your island, and it's gonna be gross
forever. It's never gonna dry.
Never.
Yeah. So at the end of these little journeys, if you will, they come across a puzzle, and each of them have the choice to complete it in a short period of time. And if they complete it, they get an advantage, but if they fail, they lose their vote. I liked that they had more of a choice, it feels like.
Yes. I liked that it was more reliant on skill.
Yeah.
Less reliant on luck. Well, I got a little bit of luck, a little bit of, I don't know, like critical thinking. But I like it a little bit more than Prisoner's Dilemma. Yeah, I think it has a little more skill. I think it makes it a little more interesting, and it makes people, I bet, well, as we see with Brandon, makes people feel like they're more likely to do it, when in reality, it's just as stressful, if not more stressful.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I didn't mind this little part as much as I strongly dislike the Prisoner's Dilemma part. So we see...
It's not very politics and government major of you.
Oh, yeah. So we see Bruce chooses not to do the puzzle, which, yeah, I don't really know why he went on it to begin with.
I don't know either. I guess, like, I don't know. I feel like if I was in Bruce's position, well, maybe he just doesn't feel comfortable in his puzzle skills, which is totally valid. Maybe if it was Prisoner's Dilemma, he would have risked it a little bit, but
yeah.
I could understand if you're not comfortable in puzzles, then you just would not do it. But interesting, I guess. He was just there to have a good time and body roll.
And go on a little boat ride, which I don't blame him. I thought it was an interesting choice for him to go on it in general, though, because I feel like that guy just needs to lay low for a sec.
Yeah, especially because he's a returner. I guess that's a good point. I wouldn't, especially because eyes I feel like are still freshly on him, and he is kind of the big personality at the camp. Like I wouldn't want to be the big personality and the returner and the guy that went on the boat. You know?
Yeah, and like that you're gonna have to make some sort of choice like this.
Yes, and you're gonna have to come back and lie or like tell the truth and have people not believe you. Like people are gonna inherently look at you differently when you come back.
And I feel like these always end up being some sort of thing where they risk their vote. At least like historically they have. So I feel like it was just bold of him to go and be like, no thanks. But I like that he had the choice. But we do see Brandon and Drew choose to do the puzzle, and after a furious couple minutes or however long it is, we see Drew complete it, but Brandon doesn't. Wah, wah.
Okay. Okay, we talked about this last episode. We are just not Brandon fans. I'm so sorry, Brandon. I'm sure you're a great person. The Survivor community loves you, and I am so happy that they do. I just, I don't, hate you. Like, you seem nice, and I'm so glad that you got to live your dream.
He seems really sweet. I do want to add that. Like, it's seriously nothing personal. It's just...
It's nothing personal at all. Like, you seem fine. But what is going on in your little brain? I can't help but think, that not, why would you risk your vote if you did not feel comfortable risking your vote for the Beware advantage?
Yeah.
I said this earlier, but that doesn't make sense to me. I guess maybe it's like a private space and he can get away with it, but he chose to go. Emily wanted to go. They chose him to go, as a group, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're like, Brandon, you should go. So then he goes. I would, if I was in his position, I would have been like, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
He very clearly he didn't want the Beware advantage because the stuff that goes on comes with having the Beware advantage. But I feel like the same stuff with publicly having a Beware advantage comes with you going on the individual journey, right? Whether or not he does it, they're gonna be suspect of him now.
Absolutely.
So why not just do the Beware advantage where at least you will get something out of out of it by the end of it. You know what I mean? I feel like your odds are much higher of actually getting an advantage by taking the Beware advantage than trying to complete a puzzle in 45 seconds.
And it's just okay, you go on this boat ride. Okay, target on your back. People are suspicious of what you did no matter what. It seemed like the wrong risk, but he did it.
And I have, again, nothing personal. Why the way that he self-narrates the things he does, I'm like, girl, I am cringing right now.
I was cracking up because Drew was completely silent, focused, and Brandon was just narrating every single move he was doing.
I know that cost him time too, because I know he was being a little silly goofy, and he was like, this is blah 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 blah. And he's like, oh, and now I'm gonna pull it, and it doesn't pull. Not only is that embarrassing, it's also I know that he was just trying to be goofy. He was just trying to be a goofy boy.
Yeah. Yeah, that is correct. So.
So he doesn't do it, and Drew does it.
Drew gets the safety without power advantage. To quickly just explain that, you, during tribal council, can leave and not vote, but you're safe from the vote, and you can play it up until there are 10 people left in the game. I want to know what you think about this advantage.
Well, I think the first time it was played was in Winners at War. I think it's a very interesting advantage if played correctly. I can't remember Winners at War at the top of my head. I don't think Jeremy was the one that played it, and I don't think he played it in a very sufficient way to help him, him or his people, because I think somebody in his side ends up going home. I can't 100% remember, but it's a very interesting advantage. And again, if played correctly with the correct like circumstances, I think it could go well. There's a similar an Australian Survivor last season, which was Brains versus not Brains. I think it was Heroes versus Villains. There was some interesting safety without power stuff. It was a little bit of a different advantage because I think the person could pick somebody to leave. Maybe I think I'm mixing up. It was a returning player, and I can't remember if he did this his first season or if he did it the second season. George, for any Survivor fans, but he played it really well. So there's definitely I like the advantage. I think
like it too.
It played well. Yeah.
I like it too. Yeah, I think it's a good one. I'm not mad about it. For once, we are not mad. We're not mad about an advantage.
I just like it's not too overpowered, right? Like there's pros and cons. The pro is you get safety. The con is you can't vote and you can't like be there to see what happens. So I like that there's a balance to it. It's not just like an overpower like deal, you know?
Yeah. I agree.
He tells his whole tribe though.
Yeah, they both do. So
I don't
we can get into that.
Okay.
Yeah. So first we see the Lulu tribe again. And Brandon
loser. Major losers.
So Brandon shares that he failed the puzzle and lost his vote. And we get one of my favorite confessionals from Sean, and he's like, Brandon said he's the puzzle guy, but he has failed out all the puzzles so far. Does he have any strengths?
That is my quote of the episode. It is so good. And because it's like true. And the way that he ate Brandon up, I was like, literally go off. Because you're so correct. You're like, so his big things are he's a good puzzle person, can't complete a single puzzle, and that he's sociable. Obviously not sociable enough because everybody hates Emily and they'd rather keep her around than you. So
I know that was cracking me up. He was good at talking to Hannah, but Hannah still quit, so
I mean it's telling. The social game is telling.
Yeah, that would be I'm sure. I wonder how Brandon feels watching all of this back, these two episodes.
And we love you.
And then next we go into Drew, and he's showing with his tribe that he got the advantage. And I think it was bold. I don't think I would have explained exactly what it was.
The advantage?
Maybe maybe make up some. I don't know. It's because then it could get around. I don't know what I would do. But the other people don't know. Well, no one else would know that he has the advantage, right? So like it couldn't get back. Like Brandon didn't see Drew do it.
And I mean the worst case scenario, like Brandon ends up getting voted out. The worst case scenario would be like they merge and Bruce is like, oh, this is what happened when we did the thing, and then they're like, oh, well he said this, blah blah blah. Drew. I don't know. I hate one of my biggest Survivor pet peeves is telling people about advantages. It defeats, especially safety without power. It defeats the whole See, now I just know it's going to be played wrong. Everybody knows you have it, and then they're just going to tell you that you're going to get voted. Everybody's going to be like, "We're voting you, Drew."
And then he uses it. Yeah, they're going to flush it. It's so stupid. I don't think he should have said anything.
I don't think he should. I think maybe, yeah. He could have lied about something. Maybe, I don't know what's less significant for you to be like, maybe you say that you lost out on, I don't know. Maybe you just say you lost your vote, and then people think you don't have a vote when you do.
Yeah, I don't think that's that big of a problem, especially because it seems like he has pretty solid alliances. Yeah. I don't think him not saying he doesn't have a vote is that big of a deal.
If it's just a J, Maya, and Sifu, if he's just like, oh, I lost my vote, and then he goes to Mama J and Austin and is like, JK, I do have my vote. Just don't tell them that I have it. But then it's like, okay, well then what do you have?
I honestly would just be like, I don't have my vote.
Just to everybody?
To his alliances, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I feel like he's surrounded well enough that. See, and now all the little Survivor super freaks are going to be in our
in our
chat, and
DMs.
they're gonna be in our DMs and be like, "That's literally a terrible idea." And we never said we were the brains, babe. We are the beauty, hands down.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, if we were playing on brains, brawn, and beauty, we would be beauty for sure.
For sure.
So next we move into the immunity/reward challenge. And it's jumping in the water and balancing. And I just want to say, is this not like almost the same challenge that we saw Queen Tiffany Staley's iconic performance in?
No, it's the same challenge they've had every single season for the past 5 seasons, except they did have a different puzzle.
So they couldn't practice it.
Carson's impact. He's a game changer.
Oh, it's giving Hunger Games Game Maker.
I don't even. Oh yes. Okay. I was watching with my roommate. Maybe we'll have him on the podcast sometime. I don't know. He's not a Survivor super fan. This is the first time he's watched the episode last night was his first episode of Survivor, and so
he didn't watch the first episode.
No, he had COVID.
Oh, that'll do it.
But I was explaining the challenge. He was like, no, because he's like kind of like a tall, lengthy boy, and he was like, the way that I would kill this challenge, and I was like, it's kind of a fun one to watch, especially if you fail over and over again, because you can see the people getting progressively more tired as they fail.
Swimming back
is crazy. This is a rough challenge. If you can't
if you fall off that balance board, like that was
Kendra.
Oh my god, I can't believe they didn't have to like call medic in.
If she was a man, I'm so sorry. Or if she is a person who had a male genitalia, that is crazy.
The noise of falling like that.
I twitched as I'm getting sick thinking about it. Right.
I'm sad we didn't get a confessional from her after that talking about the challenge, because like it was just brushed off. Like she finished and then she's just sitting on the ground like which, girl, me too. That's awful.
It's a fun
I kind of like
the challenges.
I kind of like this one.
I think it's a fun challenge. I like that there's different parts of it. It's like jumping, it's balancing, it's puzzle, it's teamwork. It's fun.
A little relay kind of thing.
I missed a little bit of the challenge, so maybe you can fill me in here. So the Blue Tribe, the Bello Tribe, did they come back from being behind?
So
were they
Reba,
kind of like ahead? Well,
to me it felt pretty. It's hard to tell with editing, but I feel like it felt pretty even-ish up until the puzzle. And then, yeah, I think maybe they did make kind of a comeback because Lulu, unfortunately, kept up their streak. Oh. And yeah, I don't know. It's tough because it just seems pretty equal between Reba and Bello, except Reba keeps winning. So, you know.
The puzzle performance by Brandon and Emily?
No,
was it Emily?
Sabaya.
Was it Brandon and Sabaya?
Because Emily was making eyes like, you can't do this.
Like, what are they doing?
Yeah. And then Sabaya going, I can't look for pieces for both of us.
No, because
she's right.
Is she wrong? The way they zoomed in on Brandon fully it's the wrong direction. The lines are,
and they're like, follow the lines.
She's like, I don't know. I'm like, babe, I'm like, I know you haven't had food, you haven't had fire, you haven't had shelter. I'm so sorry, but it could not be that hard. And like, I know I've never done it, and I'm so sorry, but like, it really cannot be that hard.
It's just, I think the puzzles would be really daunting. I think I would I would like to give it a crack, but I also feel like I would struggle. But it seems like he was struggling with the puzzle just more than he should have been. Like, common sense, look at the lines. Like, it is a flowing puzzle. I don't know.
It's probably like a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of panic. Like, it's all on you, and you're like, and he's shown, obviously, like, he's talked about having anxiety and panic attacks, and I'm sure just in that moment it's really, really, like, you're shaky, you're trying to finish this puzzle as quick as you can. Like, I'm sure some common sense leaves, but it's like what Sean said, you cannot brand yourself as the puzzle guy. You cannot brand yourself as you can't do that if you're not going to excel in the puzzle.
I think maybe that plays a part into it too, because he knows, like, I have to do well at this puzzle, or what am I here for? Like, what am I good at? That's, like, what I've told everyone. But I was also thinking, could you imagine once again, no offense, Brandon, could you imagine watching him do the physical part of the challenge? Like, where else was he going to go?
No, like, you're, like, what else was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, if he missed that first jump hitting the thing,
game over.
Lulu is not even making it to the puzzle.
I'm not confident Brandon can swim. Brandon, prove us wrong.
No, he can. I went back. Fun fact, he can swim, because I went back and I watched a little bit of the pregame stuff after we did our draft video, and he talked about how he trained in a pool before he came. His friend, who's like a athletic swimmer, helped train him in swimming.
I don't believe it.
I'm telling you what I heard from his mouth. Maybe he's just like a little storyteller. Maybe he's just a little, like, folktale fiction.
I love that. Wow.
Liza Minnelli. Lies.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So, after that performance, Reba stays on top, and Lulu is still without fire or, like, any of the bare necessities.
They're living, literally. Like, oh my god, Cody, living. Survivor 43. Your favorite season.
Oh, that's why it's not registering.
Anyway, yeah.
So after the challenge, we go back to the Lulu camp, and we see Sabiyah, Caleb, and Sean going to look for the next step of the Beware Advantage. Mm-hmm. It takes them a very long time to figure out that it's in that tree that they were looking at forever, and that it is not a coconut tree.
I lived for Sabiyah being like, wait a minute, this
is a rope
tree. This is not a coconut tree.
This is not a vine. That is rope. I thought that was so funny. And so once they find it in the tree, they read the paper, and it says they have to burn the wax to reveal it. And I lived for all of their reactions when they were like, ha ha ha, we have no fire. We can't do it.
Her going up to Brandon and being like, I found the idol. And he was like, oh my god. And she was like, it's in wax. And he was like, what?
It's so funny. It was so funny.
I'm like, okay, so do you think, I heard there was some conversation about this. Do you think that the rule is they have to burn it in the fire? Or do you, like, because it's just wax.
Okay,
like, what's stopping
put
you
it
from,
in the sun.
Put it in the sun, or just like I literally
like how, like, can't you just melt it with your hand? Like, I don't know. Or like what Brandon was doing with his glasses, I think, trying to start the fire. What? Oh.
It is that easy, people.
Hold that in your hands the rest of this episode, and do a little update at the end. Oh, you keep it on screen.
Oh, should I try to warm them in my hand? Okay, I'll do that.
Let's do a little experiment. Yeah.
My hands are gonna. What scent is this? Pumpkin spice caramel latte.
Okay, fall.
You know.
I love it. Um, yeah, I thought the same thing. I'm not sure. I don't feel like it says specifically fire. I feel like it just says like this is wax melted away or something.
Like at that point, yeah, put it in the sun, cover it in hot sand, sit on it.
Sit on it. Do you know the reference?
No.
It's Steve Harvey.
Oh yeah, okay, no, I do. The TikTok audio?
Yeah, with the bell at the end. I can't. I don't know how to move on. Yeah. So we also see, I was thinking this might be the first time ever that I've kind of liked the use of the shot in the dark or the role it's playing. Mm-hmm. I like that Emily is using it as a way to build trust. I mean, like, I'm giving this to you, like, so I won't use it. Like, I'm trusting you. You trust me. She's really putting in the work this episode.
So, roommate and I were having this conversation. He was saying that we'll get there. We'll get there in a second. Once they're trying to like actually decide, I think it's really interesting. I agree. I think I've never thought about it being played like that before. What an interesting way to approach it. She is putting in the work.
It makes it feel a little more dynamic because at its face, I don't really care for the shot in the dark. It's just like,
I often forget that it's a thing. I often forget.
Yeah, and so I think making it play differently in the game, using it in more, I don't know, strategic ways, I think is so smart of her. Yeah, so shout out Emily. I never would have thought to do that. But I do want to move into my favorite quote of the episode.
Wait, do you think, I don't know if they discussed this, do you think that Emily gives Sabiyah her shot in the dark? Mm-hmm. Is Sabiyah able to play both of them? Like, is she able to like play one, and then later down the line play the other? Like, I don't know. What's your favorite quote?
So, I want to preface this by saying, last episode we talked about how we didn't hear a southern accent from Sabiyah, but I 1000% heard it this episode.
I did too.
I love it. So just in her southern accent, it really came out when she said my favorite quote, which is, Emily just makes me feel like she will cut my throat in the night.
Like that is you do not want people saying that about you.
No. And it's just so funny because we see this juxtaposition of how Emily is being, I don't know, interpreted. That's not the right word, but that's how I'm feeling. Like with Caleb being like, no, she's just a little rough around the edges. And Sabiyah's like, no, she would murder me. I don't trust her. And I think that's so interesting for their little like duo. I feel like it's kind of showing that I don't know what the future of it will look like. They seem to really not agree on this.
I think it shows like fundamentally they're not really that much of a duo. Like I think they just kind of get paired together because they did Sweat versus Savvy together. Like it's early on.
Yeah.
And they're not really showing, I mean, like
they don't seem that close.
No, they don't. And I think it's just working together out of necessity. It's like, well, I don't want to work with Brandon because he can't win any challenges. I don't want to work with Emily because she's crazy. So then it's those two, and then I guess if I'm Sabiyah, I'm like, okay, well, so then it's Caleb and Sean.
Yeah.
Like numbers. I'm not a math major, but the numbers are adding up.
The numbers are numbering.
Numbers are numbering.
So yeah, that quote made me laugh though. And so finally we move to Tribal Council where Lulu is there again, and Brandon makes a comment. My favorite comment from him is, this is my first team. I don't play sports. Like, babe, we know.
You did not have to do him dirty like that.
He said
You said, we could tell.
We know.
The way you fell off that human wall last episode, we could tell.
Yeah. Yeah, most of
Yeah.
the tribal just feels like it's Emily and Brandon kind of going back and forth giving heartfelt speeches about what the game
So,
means to them.
which is kind of boring, realistically,
It was a
but
boring tribal.
it was a little boring tribal compared to the last tribal. Um, so in your humble opinion, you're in Caleb Sabaya's shoes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are you keeping Emily or are you keeping Brandon?
I was thinking about this, and I think it's kind of what risk you want to play, like what risk you want to take,
Mm-hmm.
because you keep Emily around. Let's say you're Sabaya. I feel like Caleb knew that you wanted to keep Emily around. So I'm going to think of this like in Sabaya's position. Yeah, Emily seems like a threat, especially with watching her get closer to people
Mm-hmm.
after everything.
That's scary.
It is very scary how fast she was able to
Yeah.
do that. I would be scared to have her around, especially with how they didn't get off on a great foot. And I can
Mhm.
see if Emily stays around that she might be a big threat to Sabaya. On
Mhm.
the other hand, but with, oh, I should go back. But with keeping Emily, I think there's a stronger chance that they would win immunities and maybe avoid splitting up a little longer, you know?
Mhm.
But if you keep Brandon, then you're going to lose again. There's no way you win an immunity challenge if Brandon is having to do it. I'm sorry. But if it's physical, it's not going to happen. And clearly,
Most of these pre-merge challenges are so physical.
in the parts where Brandon is supposed, like, could play a part, he just is failing time and time again. So I think it's risky to keep Brandon and risk getting split up and put on other tribes, or like how things shift, because how long are they
Yeah.
going to let it go if you just keep losing, you know? And it's
Yeah.
like how many, there's what, four of them left, and if it's they lose again, 3 to 2 6s, you know? I don't I think that might be tough in the long game, but it also might be nice if you keep Brandon around. He seems like he would be loyal to Sabaya.
Yeah. I don't. I guess it depends. Like I feel like Caleb and Sabaya have different interest. Like, see, this is where I'm like, they're not going to be like a huge duo because they have different wants.
Yeah.
Like for Caleb, the interest is definitely keeping Emily. Sabaya, it's definitely keeping Brandon.
Yeah.
Um, and so,
What does Sean want?
mm, I don't know.
I thought it was interesting that it really ended up being like, Sabaya, you have to choose.
Yeah.
That's how it felt, because like she didn't have a vote, and there's a third person in this little alliance thing.
It's definitely oh, I forgot. Okay, yeah. So last, not to jump real quick, but I was so confused that Jeff only read 2 votes, and then I was trying to figure out where the 2 other votes went, and then I forgot Sabaya didn't have a vote. I remember Brandon didn't. I forgot
Mm-hmm.
Sabaya didn't. So now I'm like reflecting. I'm like that makes sense. Um, yeah, I don't really. I feel like it's so contextual. Like my roommate was like, okay, well, what if like they just vote Emily out now that they have her shot in the dark? Like, do they really like blah blah blah? I'm like, well, then it kind of like that could just be like a number for you. Like, I don't know. It's just there's so many what ifs and like blah 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 about it. But I feel like at the end of the day, at this point, it has to be about physicality. Like, you cannot get your tribe becomes so small. You just get like screwed over. I mean, last season the Tika 3 I think played it really well. Um
But
but I
also, how long do you want to go without fire?
exactly like you just can't physically, well, yeah, you can't physically do it. Like it seemed that seems crazy.
I think it would just be so draining
Yeah.
over the next however many days they would still be out there.
I think they made a good choice. I think it was Brandon's time, unfortunately. I said this earlier, but I'm like, we've been saying this all episode that you're gonna claim that you're the puzzle person, and then you can't do puzzles, and then claim that your social ability will keep you around, and then they literally choose to keep the most hated person on the tribe around. Like, it's just telling that it just wasn't his time, unfortunately.
Brandon returnee.
Yeah, second chances.
Yeah.
He's gonna win second chance too, and then he'll come back for Winners at War 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What season will that be? 80?
I think it's gonna be sooner than you think. We'll just say that.
Oh. Okay, yeah. Jeff. Insider knowledge.
I'm gonna write a letter.
Yeah, a strongly worded letter to Mr. Probst.
Do you want an update on the wax?
Yes.
Here, I don't even know if you'll be able to tell. Wait. Oh. This is the normal one.
Oh, I definitely see a difference. Oh my gosh. Okay, hands, you're onto something.
I don't even know if you can see them, but they're like glittery.
I can't, but I love that. Do they smell good?
I'm gonna wash my hands for like hours, and the smell is not gonna get out of my hands.
Yeah. I'm excited for next episode. Did I see a tribe raid?
Did I see somebody falling into the fire?
Yes. Wait, is that Jake?
Jake?
Yeah. Mr. Boston. I just know him as Boston.
Yeah. Boston.
Boston. Yeah, Mr. Boston falls. Whoa. It looks like...
I'm excited for a tribe raid, though. I think that'll be fun.
Me too. I'm really excited about that. You better hide your flint if
the Lulu losers win.
If they win, yeah, watch out.
Hide your flint.
Yeah.
Hide your machete.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Me too.
Cool. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of the Making Fire podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Making Fire Pod. And we will be back next week to break down episode 3.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see how it turns out.
Me too. Bye.
Bye.